Some of y'all, did y'all leave at all or you just slept over? Um, well, good morning, and thank y'all for being here. I would certainly like to recognize and thank my good friend, Commissioner Tim Temple, who is here with me for this great announcement. Chairman of the Senate Insurance Committee, Kirk Talbot, and Chairman of the House Insurance Committee, Gabe Furman. Y'all guys should get a little closer. It ain't that bad. There ain't as many of them as there was yesterday. And then Representative Paul Sawyer, who handled the legislation that the commission is going to talk about here in just a minute. Look, we all know that what's coming up. June 1st is going to be the beginning of hurricane season. And in Louisiana, hurricane season, I mean, it's not a matter of if a hurricane is going to hit us, it's when. I'm hoping, I told the commissioner that certainly this year, I'm hoping we don't get any. And of course, the more we don't get, the easier it is on our property insurers. But for far too long, families across this state have been trapped in a cycle of storm damage, rising insurance costs, and uncertainty of whether they can actually afford their home. And affordability has become a very, very important issue, not only in Louisiana, but around the country as well. From day one, we have been working to lower insurance costs. And we've worked on it. We worked on property insurance. We worked on auto insurance. We worked on liability insurance. We did legal reform in the oil and gas sector. And we are absolutely seeing those results. We are seeing auto insurance rates drop, first time in over 30 years. Honestly, I think me and the commissioner take all the credit. No, the legislature has done a great part as well. But through the reforms that we have been doing over the last couple of years, couple of sessions, we're starting to see those reforms. It takes time for policy to be enacted through the legislature and then trickle down into the market so that consumers in Louisiana actually see the results, but they're seeing them today. The one thing that we know, and again, it's all about using the data rather than emotion. And the one thing that we have seen in the data is that when homeowners put a fortified roof on their homes, and when a critical mass of those homes in a geographical area are all fortified, insurance rates, property insurance rates drop. That's correct, right, sir? That's true. And this is not theoretical. It is substantive. And we've seen this in other coastal states as well, especially in Alabama. Through the Fortified Roof Program, eligible homeowners can receive grants for up to $10,000 to upgrade their roofs to nationally recognized fortified roof standards. Since the program was launched in 2023, more than 4,900 Louisiana homeowners have taken advantage of this and have received grants and installed fortified roofs. At the same time, demand for the program has continued to grow, with more than 38,000 homeowners around Louisiana wanting to participate. This tells us two things. First, people want to protect their homes. Second, Louisianians are hungry for solutions that actually work and will drive down their insurance costs. We have consistently said that stronger roofs equal lower rates. And so that's why we encourage homeowners to take these proactive steps to reduce risk, because when they do so, they see the benefit. That's why today I'm proud to announce that I've been working side by side with the Commission of Insurance and these legislators to significantly expand this program. This is the kind of forward-looking policy that Louisiana needs, because it protects families, it strengthens, it starts to stabilize insurance costs. Again, I want to thank all of the legislators that have been working here. And I'll tell you, for Louisianians who are watching this live, you can go to our website, and I think to the Commission of Insurance's website. And on that website, on our website, you will find insurance companies who will tell you what the discount they will give you on your homeowner's policy if you put a fortified roof on your home. And what you will find, and I'm sure the commissioner will elaborate on this, is it is significant, and the cost actually pays for itself. I also want to thank Representative Paul Sawyer for bringing this bill. The commissioner recognized that there was a pot of money out there that could be used, and Representative Sawyer picked up the ball and passed a bill that allowed us to put this $50 million into the Fortified Roof Program. So with that, I'd like to bring the Commissioner of Insurance, Tim Temple, up here, and he will kind of go through the details of the program and how it works. Commissioner.
Thank you, Governor. Thanks everyone for being here this morning. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate all of y'all being here to talk about the importance of this program, the importance of the funding, and what we're trying to do to continue to build more resilient homes. As you know, Louisiana remains one of the most challenging insurance markets in the country. As a coastal state, Louisiana is vulnerable to hurricanes, making it more expensive for property insurers to do business. We can't prevent hurricanes, but we can build smarter, and we can build more resiliently to better withstand hurricanes. By lowering overall losses, we can reduce insurance and reinsurance costs, increase competition, and motivate existing companies to write additional policies and lower insurance premiums. And that is exactly what the Louisiana Fortified Homes Program is designed to do: strengthen homes, protect communities, and bring greater stability and predictability to our insurance marketplace. The additional $50 million going to the program represents a giant boost to the program. And today, I'm glad to announce the next phase of that effort. Registration for the next round of the Louisiana Fortified Homes Program will go live Monday, June 1st at 8 a.m., and it will remain open until 5 p.m. June 19th. That's going to bring an additional 3,000 grants to homeowners. We continue to build on the progress already made to ensure the program reaches even more Louisiana residents who face elevated storm risk by expanding the eligibility from Louisiana's coastal zone to now include parishes that fall within the 130-mile-an-hour wind zone. A full list of these parishes can be found on the fortifiedhomes.la.gov website. This means more families, particularly those in high-risk areas, will now have access to this program and the protection that it provides. This expansion matters because the demand we've seen for this program has been strong, it's been consistent, and it continues to grow. The program works, not just here in Louisiana, but nationally. Across the country, there are now over 100,000 fortified roofs. This milestone demonstrates both the effectiveness of the fortified standard and the growing recognition of its value in reducing damages from storms, and Louisiana is playing a leading role in that. As the governor mentioned, through the grant program in the last 30 months, we now have 4,935 fortified roofs on Louisiana homeowners. 444 roofs are currently going through the process to complete the roof, and another 245 applicants are moving through the application pipeline. Those numbers reflect real homes, real families, and real risk reduction, and most importantly, real savings across Louisiana. And thanks to the Fortified program serving as a catalyst for adoption in the private market, we also have over 8,300 fortified roofs in Louisiana that were done outside of the grant program. Combined, that's over 13,000 fortified roofs here in Louisiana, which puts Louisiana among the top states in the country. In fact, we rank third behind, I hate to say it, Alabama and South Carolina. But we're going to catch up quickly. These numbers also reflect the growing confidence that homeowners have in this program and the growing recognition that this is one of the most effective steps that they can take to protect their property. And even more importantly, we are the fastest growing state in America for fortified roofs. But this growth is not by accident. It's the result of strong support from Governor Landry, from the legislature, also a targeted program design, and a clear recognition that strengthening homes is one of the most effective ways to reduce insurance losses and increase affordability. And that's what this is really all about. When homes are stronger, we see fewer losses. When we see fewer losses, we see fewer claims. And when we see fewer claims over time, that leads to more affordability. It allows insurance companies to get more competitive. It brings more competition to our state. And none of this progress, as I said, wouldn't be possible without the consistent support that we receive from Governor Landry and from the legislature. Lawmakers recognize the importance of this, of investing in mitigation as a long-term solution to our insurance challenges. And thanks to those changes made last session, starting this year, funding will come directly from the insurance industry through taxes and fees that they pay to do business in our state. We're projecting approximately $30 million in funding for the upcoming fiscal year from the industry, in addition to the $50 million one-time money from citizens that we're here to discuss today. That sustained commitment has allowed us to emerge as a national leader in fortified construction and mitigation policy. It has also allowed us to move beyond short-term solution and focus on long-term stability. Because at the end of the day, this program is about more than just roofs. It's about protecting families. It's about strengthening communities. And it's about putting Louisiana in a stronger position, both physically and economically, to face the challenges ahead. We're going to continue to build on that momentum. I know Representative Paul Sawyer's here to tell you some of the particulars on the bill. And again, I just want to thank the governor for his strong support and leadership on getting this bill to his desk. And I want to thank the legislature for their leadership efforts as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, Commissioner. First, I want to say thank you, Governor, and thank you, Commissioner, and Chairman Furman and Chairman Talbot. This was a team effort. This was a good idea, and this bill had no amendments to it through the entire process. So in my view, that makes it an excellent idea. Following Katrina and Rita in 2006, Citizens Property Insurance Corporation faced catastrophic claim losses, and it did not have enough money to cover those losses. To cover the losses, Citizens issued debt instruments to cover the approximate $1 billion loss. For the past 2 decades, Louisiana policyholders statewide have been paying to service that debt. We have all in the state of Louisiana been paying to service this debt. Over the years, Citizens has managed this debt. Citizens has renegotiated the interest on the bonds, achieved savings on behalf of Louisiana taxpayers and policyholders. And as a result of the maturity of that debt, the Citizens stopped assessing policyholders statewide. And to complete that process, the result has been approximately $64 million in additional funds, excess funds. Upon learning about this, Governor Landry and Commissioner Temple, Chairman Furman and Chairman Talbot developed this idea to transfer funds from Citizens to the Louisiana Fortified Home Program. I filed this bill. Personal liberty, Governor. I've been working on disaster recovery and resilience since Hurricane Andrew. And I won't remind anybody when that was, but it was a long time ago. And we've all been through major disasters. Hurricane Katrina and Rita was a seminal moment in Louisiana's history. We mark time by it. We say things like post-Katrina. And all Louisiana homeowners have been in the fight for resiliency, whether it's in coastal restoration, whether it's shoring up Citizens, whether it's completing flood control projects in the greater New Orleans area, southwest Louisiana. We fight for resiliency and risk management every day. And those words may not mean anything to the average person, but risk is why we pay so much money. Resiliency is why we keep coming back. And this bill represents risk, managing risk, and promoting resiliency. And I will take that bill every single day of the week It helped that this had a large pot of money attached to it. But I will take that bill every day of the week because Louisiana must manage risk and we must remain resilient. So thank you, Governor, Commissioner, and Chairman.
Thank you, Representative Sawyer. You know, when Rep Sawyer came to the insurance committee and his bill made it through, he said something to the effect of, "Man, that was easy." I said, "Well, don't get used to it because usually doesn't go that smoothly in my committee." But I think the ease that the bill sailed through the House committee and really through the whole process illustrates how much support there is statewide for this program. You know, on House Insurance, we've got Democrats, Republicans, we've got reps from New Orleans, Acadiana, and North Louisiana, but everyone was completely supportive of this legislation. And I want to thank Governor Landry and Commissioner Temple for working with the legislature to address this critical issue, the affordability of insurance in Louisiana. Of course, we've got work left to do, but I think we've made great strides the past couple of years, and we're beginning to see the fruits of our labor. We're beginning to see improvements in the property insurance market. From my perspective, the key to a viable, sustainable property insurance market is building more resilient structures. And I think Fortified Grant Program is a very important piece of that strategy. And really, it's as simple as this. When a hurricane hits or a severe convective storm hits, you've got to keep the roof on and the rain fall out. And that's going to minimize damage. That's going to get folks back into their homes and businesses quicker and let them return to their normal way of life much more quickly than they would had that roof been destroyed and rainfall entered into the home. Just very briefly, I'll mention to you a few pieces of legislation in regards to the Fortified program that I've been involved with. A couple of years ago, we passed a bill to require insurance companies to offer a actuarially justified discount if a homeowner fortified their roof. I authored a bill to require insurance companies to offer an endorsement that if you had that endorsement and your home was sustained a covered loss that required replacement of the roof, this endorsement would require the insurance companies to pay to upgrade your roof to fortified standard. And with Governor Landry and Commissioner Temple's leadership a couple of years ago, we essentially passed legislation to make the Fortified program permanent, which sends a really strong message to insurance companies, to the reinsurance market, that here in Louisiana, we're serious about building stronger structures and creating an environment where our people can thrive and can live for many years to come, and will be prepared when that next storm does hit. And with that, I want to introduce Senator Kirk Talbot, who has really been the champion in the legislature for the Fortified program. Senator Talbot.
Thank you, Chairman Furman. In recent years, the legislature has passed several tax incentives that encourage homeowners to adopt fortified roofs. Last year, we passed legislation that creates a tax exemption for fortified home program grants. Now homeowners who put a roof on through the Fortified Roof Homes program don't have to worry about whether they will owe state income taxes on that grant money. We also passed a bill last year that increased an existing tax deduction for residential mitigation costs from $5,000 to $10,000 and clarified that fortified upgrades costs are eligible for this benefit. Lastly, I authored a bill last year that created a $10,000 income tax credit for costs associated with upgrading a fortified roof. This is something that I collaborated with Commissioner Temple and the governor. You know, when the Fortified Roof Grant Program opens, it sells out faster than the Ole Miss LSU football game tickets. I mean, it goes really quick. So we thought, what can we do for people that maybe they can front the money themselves, put on the roof if they didn't get a grant, and then they can claim a tax credit later in the next tax year. So that's something we did. Has $10 million in it that gets put in every year, and that's something that really has kind of opened up another avenue of people to get fortified roofs. Together, these tax incentives provide multiple paths for homeowners to install a fortified roof while saving money even without the grant. My colleagues on the Senate Insurance and I have been focused on insurance for several years, and I very much appreciate the efforts of Commissioner Temple and for the governor. They have been great partners in this. All these bills, all these programs are doing have all been bipartisan efforts with, I don't think we have ever received a no vote on anything with these. It really has brought this legislature to come together, and we're doing everything we can on our end to control what we can control. We can't control storms, but we can control this. And again, without the governor's help and the commissioner's help, we never would have gotten here. So thank you all for that, Governor.
Thank you. In closing, Representative Sawyer, I didn't know you were as old as me. Hurricane Andrew was actually one of my first experiences with a hurricane as well. I want to say this, that I really can't thank the Commission of Insurance and the legislature enough. I mean, right now, Louisiana is seeing historic economic investment in this state that is basically transitioning this state in a way that is lifting people out of poverty. We've got over 124,000 new job opportunities. We said we wanted to keep people in this state rather than export people out of the state, which has been happening over the last 30 years or more. As we invite people in, or as we want people to stay, we want them to be able to have affordable homes. We want them to have home ownership. We want them to live on the coast. And what this is, there are some people that say, oh, we just can't live on the coast anymore. Oh, we just can't live in Louisiana anymore. And I believe that's un-American, quite frankly, because in America, we never accept defeat. We always find a solution to the problem. And the gentlemen that are standing behind me are emblematic of that, of making sure that we could find a solution that is affordable and living up to the promises that we made to people of the state to lower insurance rates. With that, I'll take any questions. Tyler.
For clarification, and then a question beyond that. The money, the $30 million, I think Commissioner Temple said it will come from insurance companies. Does that ultimately be then being paid by policyholders, in other words, Louisiana residents?
Well, last year, the legislation that was enacted reallocated a portion of premium taxes already collected. So in effect, yes, it's already collected. We did not raise, we didn't ask the legislature to raise taxes. We just asked them to reallocate a portion. We did increase the fee that all the licensees by the department, insurance agents, brokers, claims adjusters, insurance companies, $7 a year, $15 every 2 years. So that was the increase there. So directly, I guess it's from the premium tax standpoint, but the rest of the industry is paying it themselves.
If I could ask a broader question, I understand the benefits from this program. You guys have done a great job of explaining that. Here's the part that I don't get. I'm assuming that the amount of fortified roofs that are currently been completed, maybe 1% of all the homes in the hurricane area, right? So how does that translate into benefits for all the homeowners if it's such a small percentage are receiving that fortified roof benefit?
Sure. Well, as you said, currently the 13,000 homes that have a fortified are receiving a direct benefit because there is the reductions, as the governor said. There are credits that insurance companies by law that Chairman Furman mentioned, they have to give when you get a fortified roof. So they benefit directly. The greater portion that the governor alluded to is absolutely correct. What they saw in Alabama is that once there was a concentration of fortified roofs in a geographic area, then it reduces the overall risk and exposure. So then therefore, reinsurance costs can come down. We're working with reinsurance companies, with CAT modelers right now to determine what that geographic footprint looks like in Louisiana so that we can focus efforts and bring a greater benefit to not just the fortified roofs, but the greater community.
And let me expound on that. Here's what's important is that if you have areas where you may say, well, only 1% of the roofs in Louisiana are fortified right now, but you may have a concentration of fortified roofs in, say, the Metairie area, right? Or the Thibodeau area or New Iberia. I know they don't because I'm trying to get them in that program in New Iberia. But when you do that, those areas, those pockets will see overall a reduction in property insurance premiums. What that does is that's going to cause people to talk. and say, you know what, my premiums in New Iberia, my premiums in Metairie, my premiums in Thibodeau are cheaper. And people go, well, why? Well, because we've been putting fortified roofs on. And so the more we can lean in on this program, the better off we are. You're right. It may be certain areas where there's a critical mass of those fortified roofs, where people in that critical mass area may benefit greater than people outside of it. That's why what we're trying to do here is expand the program in a way that it covers all of Louisiana, certainly all of the coast. I hope that helped.
Not to bring up a sore subject, but this level of cooperation, if you and Commissioner Temple mended fences from last year.
I didn't know we had broke any fences. I mean, most of the time it comes from y'all reporting and you know, things that y'all believe. Look, let me just say this. If you don't have tension in this building, nothing gets done. In fact, most of the strongest structures in the world have tension on them. And that is good and that is healthy. And I think that it is through that tension, it is through that debate, it is through that exercising of differences of opinion where you find some common ground and you get things done. I mean, irrespective of what disputes may occur or disagreements are, collectively, the people that are standing here and in this building have delivered for Louisianians right now. I mean, that's not a fantasy. That's not a wish. It's an actual fact. I mean, the commissioner and I were talking in the office just a while ago. Insurance premiums as a whole on property and auto are coming down. And I believe with the changes that we've made, there are going to be continual downward pressures on it. So I appreciate that, but no, not a problem. We talk. Yes, ma'am.
This might be a question for Senator Talbot. How many people have taken advantage of the tax credit program?
I'm not sure yet. You'd probably have to ask the Secretary of Department of Revenue for that. So how it works is if you put the roof on tomorrow, you would file paperwork now, and then you would January 1st, you can start filing for that credit between January 1st and the end of the fiscal year. So I guess we'll find out at the end of this fiscal year how many people applied for that. But I'm not sure. You know, that's probably a question for them.
Governor, I think a more specific question on your relationship with the commissioner is.
Oh, y'all like that today, huh? I tell you what, why don't we just all do lunch? Y'all can pay. What you think, Tim?
I'm working.
Huh?
Last year, you called out the commissioner specifically on auto insurance, saying you didn't have a willingness to bring down rates. Is this just a specific topic change that now we have more collaboration on the property insurance side, or has there been a development in your relationship overall?
No, look, I think that there were a number of people. I mean, I think to single the insurance commissioner out is unfair. There were a number of legislators that seemingly I tried to convince. Some of them I was able to persuade, others I was not. But overall, we were right. The policy that we collectively put together. Look, there was one bill out of the entire package that him and I disagreed on. One, right? I just felt extremely strong about it. And with that bill and the collection of other bills, we have driven auto insurance rates down. So, you know, again, I think it's time to celebrate. Quite frankly, I mean, we all know that we got a lot more work to do. But the good news is that Louisiana gets to see a team effort out here that is actually working for them, right? And so no, but if y'all are happy, if the press wants to sponsor some lunch, I think Tim and I are happy to come.
And on the Fortify Roof program, is there a certain threshold for this critical mass, to which, you know, beyond that, you're not going to really see any more premium discounts?
Look, I'll just say real quick, Alabama, which is the leading state in the country, they've had a fortified program for over a decade now. So we kind of look to them, all things kind of fortified. They saw somewhere in that 20 to 30% concentration. That's what we're trying to determine for what does that mean for Louisiana. They've only have 2 counties that touch the Gulf. We have a lot more. So the the math is going to be a little different, and that's why we can't just throw out 20%. I wanted to, as you heard the governor say earlier in the conference about let data drive decisions. I want to make sure that data is driving that decision and how we go forward on the program.
And let me just close with this. It is important for Louisianians to take a look at this program. Like when I talked about New Iberia earlier, I gave a speech about 6 months ago in New Iberia, where Sharon and I lived. Sharon's from there. I'm from St. Martin, and asked in the audience of 200 people if anybody had heard of the Fortified Roof Program, and like only 2 raised their hands. That was depressing for me. Okay, because we know this is something that we know works. We know that it works, and we're willing to employ capital in order to help the citizens understand the importance of it and to accept it. And hopefully it's one of those things that becomes like, it's like inertia. You know, once we start putting these roofs in place and people start seeing the benefit, it becomes infectious, and then we will reach that critical mass. So again, I want to thank everyone. I want to thank the commissioner again and the legislature for doing a phenomenal job of continuing to, oh, we got another question. Oh, we got to sign the bill. Yeah, that's very important. Yeah, and then we'll sign the bill. All right. Your bill. Why don't we, I'll sign one for you, Paul, and then Tim, you want to get one? I'll sign one each one of you, and y'all can all. All right. Is this your first bill this year?
Are you gonna haze me?
I mean, I am. I'm thinking about this.
It's my first bill with you.
It's about what? Wow.
So we can do this for all the rest.
Congratulations.
Thank you, guys.
I'll let Gabe, aid you.
Thank you, Gavin. Thank you.
Absolutely. That's your. All right. Kurt gets so many of these, I don't know if I should give him a pen. I got a whole box. Come on, Tim, they want that money shot. That's what they want. They really do. Y'all get a great picture of this. Yeah, like see. There's gonna be many more.
Thank you, Gavin.
Thank y'all.